This is the Gambling Gauchos.
Okay, we're live, pal.
Hey, if we keep playing and fighting for each other, and no matter what happens, we just say, what's next? That's all we do. Somebody turn on some damn music!
You're listening to the Gambling Gauchos. Talking Texas Tech, betting on the Big 12 and beyond. We've got everything you need, money lines, memes, and matadors.
Well,
You want to quit, Ethan?
that'll be the day.
Now, here's Kyle Jacobson and Rob Bro, the Moneyline Matadors, the Casino Cowboys, the Parlay Picadors.
You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig. You dig. Win.
The Gambling Gauchos. Oh, and one more thing. It's all West Texas. It always has been.
Welcome into the Gambling Gauchos. I'm Rob Bro. He's Kyle Jacobson. We also have Money Mainville and a new guest star today, Brandy Addison, the ag. I don't want to mess it up. The ag reporter for the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, here to talk about cotton exports and what that means to the bowl game. And we'll pick some bowl games too. We'll air our grievances. I know Kyle has a lot of grievances for me personally, and maybe beyond. So we'll get to that as well. People already in the chat saying how festive it is. It's very festive, very Christmassy. Get the Christmas background. We're in the Cardinals Sports Center studio. If you want to join in, you can. Somebody else has just joined. Who's AD? AD has joined. I don't know who that is. I don't know where they got the link.
I am going to assume that is my boss.
Oh, he wants to join in?
He's joining at this point. He told me to send him a link, so he's joining.
Oh, who?
He said he's reserving his night to hear me talk sports. That's how qualified
okay.
I am.
Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to send him the tell him to go to Gambling Gauchos, twitch.com/Gambling Gauchos.
Okay.
That way he can get into it.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. The more the merrier there.
No, I meant
at
for the
Twitch.
kid.
Her too. Cardinal Sports Center Studio. If you want to gear up for the holidays, you can. You can go to Cardinals Sports Center on 68th and Slide or online, mycardinalsports.com, and get your gear for holidays. Kyle, Mary, Mainville, Brandy, how are y'all doing?
Good. Can I ask a question of the ag reporter?
Yes.
Do you know about Baijiu?
Baijiu?
Yeah.
Is this a joke?
No.
Is this a play on words? No, what is Baijiu?
No. It's a type of liquor. It's actually the most consumed liquor.
That comes from sorghum?
Yeah.
I do know that. Okay, so I thought it was like a play on words for like Joe Biden, like bye Joe.
No.
Bye Joe.
No, we don't do politics on here.
Okay.
Anyway, I was only asking because you're like one of the few people who might know about Baijiu, and I tried some this evening for obviously the first time in my life. Somebody brought it back from China like 3 or 4 years ago, and we busted it out at dinner, and it was as disgusting as everybody told me it would be.
You had some 4-year-old Baijiu?
Yeah.
Just sitting around?
Yeah, so
Special
getting to know
occasion?
the Gauchos.
Okay.
Is it
Getting to know
possible
the
that it was bad because it was 4 years old?
It is.
And not because of the product?
Yeah, no, both are possible. I'm just not sure either way because the reviews weren't good coming in. But yeah, so I was cleaning out my office because I'm changing jobs, and somebody else who left their job a couple years ago left me with this bottle of Baijiu, and so I was like, "Do you want this back?" like, do you want me to keep it? Because it came from China, like it's legit. And so anyway, she was like, yeah, bring it to dinner tonight. And so we took a shot of Baijiu and it was gross.
I'm going to keep my Shiner Bock right here.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the only ag-related question I had, Rob.
The only one?
Okay.
You prepare a list of ag questions for Brandy?
No, but I seriously did see earlier that Mississippi's #1 ag export was cotton. So I was going to look at it because I felt like West Texas could defeat them no matter what the product was, right? Because we got all this, like 25 different crops out here, commodities out here. But yep, I think we got the beat just like the bowl game, right?
Strong analysis there. I will say, beyond cotton in the area, what would you kind of rank the exports as in West Texas? Just it's all West Texas, so let's just get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all West Texas, right? Every cotton out there. I mean, every commodity out there. It's
all right, let's do start bench cut. Cotton, wine grapes, and sorghum.
I'm gonna go with sorghum. Corn's pretty big up here. High Plains and the High Plains. Sorry, ignore the 2-year-old. In the High Plains, sugar's a big deal. Sugar cane. Corn, as I said. Peanuts. We just got done with peanut harvesting, so all those are big deal. We're also like top 5 exporters on chicken, goats, donkeys. #1 beef producer. I think we're like number 5 or like number 6 for dairy, number 5 for eggs. So we're up there for pretty much everything.
I'm actually pretty sure that we're #1 in goats because I don't know if anybody knows this, but Patrick Mahomes actually went to Texas Tech. So
I was wondering where that was going. Lots of goats coming out of here. Kyle, the New Orleans Bowl is tonight. From the beginning of the bowls to the New Orleans Bowl, did any of those strike your fancy at all? Were there any matchups? The Louisville-Cincinnati matchup was the only matchup where I was like, there's some intrigue there. A little regional, the coaching shuffle, but beyond that, I've not been in tune with any bowl.
No, I guess you had Troy versus UTSA was a ranked G5 matchup, and so there was some spice there. But that game sucked. Like, I don't remember when it was. It was like a Wednesday while I was at the office, so I didn't get to see any of it. And it was like 13-9 or something like that. So no. Now, I did proclaim Western Kentucky as a stone cold lock of the century on our last episode. They're up 14-0 right now, or at least last I checked. So I have some personal intrigue there. But no, to your point, bad slate so far. But it's not even Christmas yet, so let's let the cake bake a little bit.
It's our Christmas tonight. Do you want to get right into the bowl picks that we have? The Big 12 bowl picks and then get into some other things, or you want to talk basketball real quick?
No, let's do bowl picks. That's what Brandy is here for.
It's past my bedtime, so the quicker we get bowl picks out of the way, the better off I am. I'm just kidding.
Before we get into it, though, Brandy, tell our listeners who you are, what you do, and why you wanted to join the Gambling Gauchos, because we don't really even know you. We're getting to know you right now.
Yeah, so I am the local agriculture and natural resources reporter. I'm going to move out of the way, but I'm still going to talk. I'm going to temporarily turn my camera off. So I'm the local ag and natural resources reporter for the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, and I'm also a part-time professor at Texas Tech, right? So I'm a big tech fan. I'm also a tech graduate. And that is that. Sorry, my kid is mad as hell. We tried, I'm in a closet right now. We tried to put her in bed, but she did not want to go to bed, so she is now angry. So as I said, I'm a tech grad. I am a tech professor. So I'm a big fan there. I also just recently did some football stories for TCU, which I am a longtime hater of, but I gotta say they really gained my respect this year, right?
All right. Well, Brandy, thank you so much for coming on. We'll let you get going now. Thank you for your thoughts on TCU. Just kidding.
Sorry. Hey. Hold on. I got to put it out there. It's all West Texas, right? And Sonny Dykes is from West Texas. So we got to give him love. We got to give Spike Dykes love, right? He's Spike Dykes' son. Like, it's all West Texas, man.
It's true. We'll let it slide for now.
So why did you want to come on the Gambling Gauchos podcast?
Because I love y'all. Y'all are like my favorite Twitter account to follow when it comes to the Texas Tech, right? And I did not get to go tailgate with y'all when y'all were in town at TCU when I was also in town. So it's about time. I talk about y'all a lot, though. I'm a big fan. I show my students y'all's stuff. And
well, that's not good.
Hey, they're big fans too, though, right? Like, I didn't actually realize like how many students, like, not to say cared about sports, right? But like, what percentage of my students would prefer to go to sports journalism over any other beat, right? It's wild. And I didn't even have any type of like sports journalism in my syllabus this semester. So I've added that, I've rectified that, and watch not a single one of my students next semester will want to do sports because I finally added it in, right? That's how it's going to go.
Kyle, I think that qualifies you as a Big J Journo now. If you have
Twitter, you're using my material tweets, at an accredited 4-year university to teach the
youth. Do we all freeze? Just me?
I think just you.
All right, we're back. Good. I'm sure that point you just made was incredible, Kyle.
They all are, Rob.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Let's get into the bowl games. The very first one on the Big 12 slate is the worst bowl draw I have ever seen in my entire life. We will never see a bowl draw this bad ever again. Baylor has to go play in 9-degree temperatures, I think sub-zero wind chill, at their arch rivals stadium, TCU in Fort Worth. I don't even know the name of this bowl. Is this the Armed Forces?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Armed Forces Bowl. We'll go with that.
Respect the troops, Kyle. For reals.
They were picked preseason number 1 in the Big 12, coming off of a conference championship, a Sugar Bowl win, a 12-win season. They parlayed all of that into having one scholarship quarterback on their roster, battling the troops just to stay above 500 on the season. So they're down pretty bad. The Bad News Bears, we like to call them.
They had a terrible day today, too.
Do what?
They had a bad day today, too.
They did. It almost makes you feel bad for them.
Rough week.
So they are 3.5-point favorites over the Air Force Academy. And the total is 43.5. Brandy, do you have a play on either the spread or the total on that game?
I am for that spread. So I guess I'm agreeing with it. I actually, so I thought when y'all said that we're doing spreads, I actually came up with my own spreads. So I actually have a larger margin of victory for Baylor. I have to admit, I'm totally biased. Baylor was my first love. I was actually enrolled there and ended up not going there for personal reasons. And this was actually when the first college football playoffs, I was a senior in high school, when they came around, they were, neck and neck with TCU. And I remember being so disappointed that they did not make it into the top 4. And there were like speculations that it was because they're a private school, right? So they weren't going to bring in the money because they weren't going to bring in that fan base. So I'm happy to see them here, right? And I'm happy to support Baylor on this one. And like I said, I think it's going to be a larger margin victory.
Okay, you're on thin ice here, Brandy. You've been a little bit sympathetic to TCU and Baylor. We have a 3-strike policy, but I'm just letting you know.
Oh, no, I am ready to watch Texas and OU get totally wrecked. Like I'm full. Hey, but I'm a Fort Worth gal. This is, like I said, this is my first time ever, and I'm not even joking with you. My first time ever rooting for TCU. Like, I'm a Baylor gal at heart, back in the day. So I hate TCU naturally.
Okay.
So it's just this one year, and it's because we got Sonny Dykes. He's a West Texan, man.
Okay. All right. All allowed. Okay. So you have Baylor covering the 3.5. Rob, Ryan, what do y'all think?
The people are asking if Ryan's at a rave.
I am at a very merry rave.
It's the
And that
Christmas
is
spirit.
that's going to be the case for Baylor too. I'll pick them to cover, but I'm gonna slam that under. There's no way that game hits 43. The weather's going to be terrible.
I generally pick Power 5 teams against non-Power 5 teams in bowl games, but this time in the cold, everyone's running. Baylor is hurting from signing day. Their fans won't show up. It's going to be 9 degrees. I'll take Air Force. Support
Can
the
we
troops.
take a moment to talk about how wild RG3 was though the other day at his little and
When
that
he jumped into the crowd?
I mean, man, what is the audacity on that man? You gotta love him though, right?
Did you see his ups, by the way, Kyle? Did you see that? The Lambeau leap? He cleared the wall. He cleared, and then Adam Schefter tried to jump up.
Well, you know, when
RG3
RG3, so RG3 coming out of Copperas Cove High School, I think it was, he enrolled at Baylor early. And so spring of his freshman year, when he should have been a senior in high school, he was like a national qualifier in the 400 hurdles. And I think had he focused on track instead of football, he was like world-class Olympian type athlete in track and field. So that does not surprise me at all. Heard some disappointing stuff there. I support the troops. You know what they say, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Give me Air Force plus 3.5. And they want you to take the under, so I'm going over because all signs point to the under. And so we're going to go opposite of that and go over 43.5.
Bold. Are you saying it's due with all that? With all the bets?
No, I'm not saying it's due. I'm saying you fade the masses. Zig while everybody else zags. Okay, next one. I guess they have enough guys to field a team. Oklahoma State is a 3.5-point underdog to the Wisconsin Badgers in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl out there in Arizona. A low total in this one as well, 43. Brandy, we'll start with you. Wisconsin is favored by 3.5. What's your pick on this one?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin's going to cover that as well. I actually think that we're going to go over. But hey, I'm against all Big 12 teams except for Tech at this point, right? And TCU and Baylor.
There you go. You got to be consistent. I also think Wisconsin will cover, and I think they're going to play 7-on-7 in the second half.
Wisconsin to cover, over.
I was going to take the Scotties, but now I feel like I need to fade the three of you. So give me the Pokes. There's a hook there, plus 3.5. And I guess we'll hope that this goes under because if it goes over, I feel like they won't be able to stay within 3. So, yeah, give me Pokes plus 3.5. The feel-good story of the 2022 college football season, the Kansas Jayhawks, the most miserable, downtrodden FBS program of the last decade, ascends to bowl eligibility. They're taking on Arkansas, which, Brandy, did you know that Arkansas is the only state mentioned in the Bible?
No. Is this true?
Yeah, so in the Old Testament, after the flood, it says that Noah removed the cover from the ark and saw.
That's funny.
Thank you.
Rob doesn't think so.
Okay.
The first 50 times he told it on this podcast weren't funny, and that one wasn't either, Kyle.
Anyway, should be a good game. The Jayhawks are 3-point underdogs. Oh, God, not this joke again. The total is 69, so it should be a high-scoring affair, allegedly. Brandy, we'll start with you. What do you think about Kansas versus Arkansas?
Remind me what the margin victory was there.
So Arkansas is favored by 3.
Okay, so that means the Jayhawks will score at least 66 points, right? And I just don't see that happening. So I'm going with Arkansas covering it. Oh, no, the margin of victory was by at least 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Regardless. Nope, yep, I agree. Yes, it could be like 69 to like 21, right? Like, yes. Arkansas's got it covered. Yep.
Okay.
I agree, and I like that score. I think Arkansas is going to win by 50.
Yeah.
Arkansas to cover. I'm going to take the under. Why not?
Dangerous man. Big
Yeah.
Hidden posits that the loser should have to remove Kansas from their name.
Yeah, it could just be R.
No, I thought it was like how they pronounced it. Like they can either call it Arkansas or Kansas is going to call it
Kansas.
Kansas. I guess, right? Like, I don't know.
Yes, winner keeps the pronunciation.
So I think even if Arkansas has opt-outs, and I don't know what their like transfer portal situation and all that, you've got to think that they're going to way out-talent Kansas's roster to the tune of more than 3 points. So give me the Razorbacks to cover the 3. Don't have a good sense on the total. I know Kansas is a high-flying offense, terrible defense. Let's go over 69 just for fun. Now I'm going to skip the Texas Bowl because we'll finish with Texas Tech. And I'm going to fast forward to the Cheez-It Bowl, which is the most corrupt, devoid of any reason and ethics bowl committee that is out there. But I digress. Florida State, the 13th ranked team in the country, is favored by 9.5 versus Oklahoma, who only won 6 games this year, including only 3 in Big 12 play. Seems like a weird mismatch there in the bowl game. The total is 65.5. Brandy, what do you think about this one in the Cheez-It Bowl?
I'm going with under, first of all, but I'm also going with Oklahoma covering it. I don't think that Florida State will win by that. I mean, since it's 9.5, they'd have to at least win by 10. I don't see that happening. I feel like I have to add in there that we do hate OU. I hate OU. I know the team, right? You know, so whatever.
That's a really big line. And I don't know about Florida State's issues, but Oklahoma certainly has a lot of them. They moved a corner to wide receiver so they could have a full wide receiver room this week. I will take Florida State plus or minus 9.5. But I think it'll be tight. I think they'll win by 10 or 12.
Florida State to cover, and I'll probably take the under.
Becoming the Undertaker over there.
I'm going 2 different avenues that both lead me to the Sooners. One, the 9.5, they're kind of begging you to take Florida State. And also it's a bit of an emotional hedge because if Oklahoma gets run out of the building, then I'll feel even more vindicated about my Cheez-It Bowl takes. So give me Oklahoma plus 9.5. Who is this guy? Who is that?
I think it's
Not getting to the woke Red Raider mob. He must have a different screen name on Discord, but
yeah, I think it's Nate.
It's like the third one that anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes those things when they pop up on the screen they kind of distract me, but
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
2 avenues lead you both to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
you would be a horrible journalist if that type of stuff distracts you.
Your words have never been spoken. Sooners plus 9.5. Now the Alamo Bowl is Texas versus Washington. Rob knew all along that the Alamo Bowl was going to invite Texas from the Big 12. The Horns are 4-point favorites over the Huskies, and the total is 67.5. Brandy, we'll start with you. Texas minus 4 or favored by 4, and the total 67.5. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go under, and I'm also going to say Washington will cover it. In fact, I think that Washington's going to win. So just putting that out there.
What was this line?
4.
I don't like doing this, but I will take Texas. And the over.
UW money line in the over.
Is Bijan playing?
Rob, don't do that hand sign again.
Oh, sorry. This one. But yes, I think he is.
Bijan is playing?
I think it's his last 2 raw. Maybe he's not. He put out that long video, but I too long didn't read. I just moved
Too long
on.
didn't read.
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all.
Man.
I'm
You'd love
happy
to
for
see
you.
him.
I'm sorry that happened.
You'd love to see a highly touted guy like Bijan at a program like Texas be able to finish his collegiate career with a that real mountaintop moment, winning the Alamo Bowl at Texas. I think he's going to be motivated. Give me Texas -4. Send Bijan out like a champion. And I just think he's really freaking good, and I don't want to pick against him. So, yeah, I'll take Texas to cover that one. Okay, now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. The Sugar Bowl, top 10 matchup. Alabama, speaking of opt-outs, sounds like all their dudes are playing. So Will Anderson is playing. Bryce Young is playing. They're favored by 6 over the Big 12 champion Kansas State Wildcats. The total is 56. Brandy, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with all that. It's right on the line right there. I will not argue that at all. Any of it.
Emaw. Kansas State money line.
Mainville disagrees, I think.
Alabama's going to win by at least 12. Sorry, Wildcats. And I'll take the over.
Alabama is a truly difficult team to peg the last couple of years. They're terrible in true road games, which this isn't that, but it's a little bit different atmosphere. You would think with all the NFL talent that they could cover the 6. I've also seen them lay an absolute dud in bowl games that they retroactively did not want to play in, and you don't know if this is going to be one of those spots until after they lose or not. We have to ride with the Wildcats, right? We've got a pretty strong alliance with K-State fans. Give me Emaw +6. No idea on the total, but I think K-State feels like there's more on the line, more to play for. Any other bowl season cliche you could think of, but I'm going to ride with K-State +6.
I double-checked Bijan. That was an opt-out video, so he's not playing. Do you want to change your answer? I just didn't want you to – I didn't want to – be a week from now and you'd be like, well, Rob said, and then blame me for everything. So,
because I would do that. I would
absolutely would do that.
I would tell everybody I lost the pick because I got bad intel from Rob. No, I won't betray my former self. And Rashawn Johnson is also really good. It makes me a little less confident, but I'll stick with it. Pre-Rob Piscating. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Sticking not only in the New Year's Six here, but the college football playoff. TCU versus Michigan. Brandy's favorite team, apparently. They are 7.5-point dogs. The line has actually moved in their favor a little bit. So Michigan, 7.5-point favorites. The total is 58.5. Brandy, can the Frogs keep it within 7, or are we looking at more of a Michigan blowout?
I am rooting for the underdog on this one. And I'm saying I completely, who is not the most credible sports source here. I'm going for the underdog. Like I'll be in Fort Worth. I love Fort Worth. And if they get some Heim barbecue in their tummy, I count on it. Like, what do they have over in Michigan? Cheese curds? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm going for TCU.
Funny you should mention barbecue. We're actually more of a Rahino family here at the Gambling Gauchos, so I'll just slide right into another ad read segue here. RahinoBBQ.com. You can order ahead. Follow them on social at RahinoBBQ. It's the best barbecue in West Texas. They've got their home base out in Olton, and then their mobile food truck goes all across West Texas, serving the fine people of the Cap Rock and beyond. Check them out if you haven't already. Hopefully it's not too late to get a Christmas brisket. Rob, I think they were open today on Wednesday, and I think they'll stay open through Friday. So hopefully you hear this in time to go get some Rahino before the holiday season. Great friends, great supporters of the Gambling Gauchos podcast. Shout out to Rahino Barbecue. Rob, Michigan, TCU, 7.5. What do you think?
This game screams backdoor cover for the Frogs. So I'll take TCU late to cover, but Michigan to win.
They've been known to do it.
Hey, I'm putting it out there too. It is not TCU, as I've said. It is West Texas that I'm supporting, and it's all West Texas. And since I'll be there at the time, I've stretched my boundaries a little further. And like I said, Sonny Dykes, he's a West Texan man, so you got to go with West Texas.
Ryan, are you buying any of that?
I'll take TCU to cover. I think Michigan's going to win. But I'll take TCU to cover, and I'm actually surprised that this line is larger than the Alabama K-State line. And then I forget the total, but I'm going to take the over anyways.
It was 58.5. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I'll stick with it.
This TCU team is tough, man. We've seen it. Even in games that they had no business winning or covering, they do both. I know the line started out bigger, but there's still that hook, 7.5. Rob, like you said, they could be losing by 14 late in the fourth quarter, and then like Duggan, Quentin Johnson make a play, and all of a sudden it's 7. Yeah, I'm gonna trail Brandy on this one. I'm not taking the underdogs. I'm taking the under frogs plus 7.5, and we'll see if they can hold it down for the Big 12. I don't think a lot of people from our listenership are rooting for that. I think they would like to see the Wolverines win by about 40, but we'll see. But yeah, give me the frogs plus 7.5.
I think Max Duggan really wants it though. And he just graduated. I'm proud of him for that. You can tell that he's like a genuine person too. He's not from Fort Worth. He loved it. I feel like he's like one of those players that you can just. And I know that's so standard for a college football player. Obviously they want to win their bowl game, right? But for me, it's just it was so powerful seeing him just talk about being able to be in the college football playoffs, right? You could just tell that this was something that means so much to him. Not that he can single-handedly do it, but I just feel like the Frogs are this team that really, really won it this year, right? And they've already made so many records this year. I literally wrote a story about that that they hadn't hit in decades, right? Sonny Dykes just came in and completely transformed this team. They were estimated to go 4-8 this year, and they went 12-1 at this point. So no, I think if anybody could do it, it would be Sonny Dykes for sure.
If future Baylor Bear Alan Bowman plays, it's Michigan in a route. That's from Big Hen. So,
well, he can play. He's recommitted.
He is. He's back.
It will be a rout if Alan Bowman plays.
The Riz God, Max Duggan, by the way. If you know, the kids are saying it. I also learned today that that's charisma. Riz, charisma. The more you know.
Grammar Gauchos.
Never heard any of that before. I'll take your word for it.
You gotta stay up with the youth to be on the Twitter.
I'm 25 and I've never heard that, so
Fair.
Gen Z right here, fair. And I've never heard that, but okay.
Ryan, are you over or under 25?
Under.
Dang, we got some youth in here, Rob.
I'm an old man.
He says as he tries to unmute his mic.
Rob, you're muted. Jeez,
these chats, man. The chats are great today. We got another game, or?
Yep. Sorry, brain freeze there. I was just waiting for Rob. I was like, all right, what are we doing next? Okay. The final Big 12 game. It's not the last one to be played, but the last one we'll discuss is, of course, the Texas Bowl. Texas Tech versus Ole Miss. Brandy, you alluded to that this should be the Cotton Bowl, and it was this matchup in the Cotton Bowl following the 2008 season. Did not go so well for the Red Raiders. Hopefully we get a better outcome this time around. Right now the line is sitting at Texas Tech plus 3.5, so Ole Miss is the 3.5-point favorite. Really high total, 69.5. What are your thoughts on this one?
I am going to pass it to Rob first. So.
That's true. Kyle was making you go first. I thought that was a little unfair the whole time, but I'll take Texas Tech. I thought this line would get bigger. I thought it would be around 5 by the time it closed. Ole Miss has 16 guys in the portal, but I think 9 are still playing in the game. Zach Evans' revenge game maybe for Krishan Merriweather and these linebackers who just got mud stomped in Lubbock last year by Zach Evans, who just tapped out because he had so many yards at halftime. I'll take the under and just on principle say Texas Tech covers. But I think it's going to be tight.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's a really high total, and I think if it was a little bit lower, maybe 5-6 points, I'd consider it, because I think there are going to be a couple of plays where Ole Miss gashes your defense with a big run. That's just kind of been their identity this season, and that's been an issue for you this season is stopping those explosive plays. But yeah, I'm going to take the under because that's so steep, but I am going to pick Texas Tech to cover, and I'd actually probably pick Texas Tech money line right now.
Full disclosure, have not done any Ole Miss research yet, and I guess running out of time because Christmas is in a couple days. We're going to do one more episode before the bowl game, right? Before the pregame party at Bell Station. Is that right, Rob?
Yes.
Okay. I'll do my homework before then.
Good.
If you haven't heard, we are doing a live show at 4 o'clock the day of the Texas Bowl at Bell Station in Midtown Houston. Would love to see you there. I'm just going to go straight emotional hedge play and say Ole Miss minus 3.5. Like I said, have done no research on this yet. I know they have a really good rushing attack, and so that'll be the focal point of this game. If you can contain that, stop it, maybe force them through the air to commit some turnovers, then that would be the type of game that I think Texas Tech could win. Also, just curious to see how you look offensively. You're obviously sticking with Tyler Shuck, who had good games against Kansas and Oklahoma. Two pretty bad defenses. And then his third game that he finished the season as the starter was in suboptimal conditions and aims. I don't think he looked bad, but it was just difficult for either offense to move the ball. So I'm curious to see what he looks like back at NRG, indoors, no weather conditions. He looked pretty good in his Texas Tech debut there a year ago. Hopefully we see a similar version of him on the 28th, but I'm going to go with Rebels minus 3.5, strictly an emotional hedge play. And I'll go with the over. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. So give me over 69.5.
I'm with you on the Rebels covering it. If it was 2.5, I'd have it. Trey Wolf could come in and score 3 points on that one, but unfortunately it's 3.5, and he can't do that. Although I do think that he could do anything. So, but unfortunately, yeah, I'm with you on that. I gotta go with the Rebels. I do think it'll be close, but 3.5 is pretty close margin of victory too, right? So hey, I'm also going with the over because I feel like they're both like really offensive heavy teams, right? So I'm going with over.
If Dabo was talking about Trey Wolf, he would say Philippians 4:13. He can do anything through Christ who strengthens him.
Do you see that big kick energy though? That front page that we had, we sold out on awesome. That. It's what yeah, big kick energy right there.
Yeah,
I was very
not
surprised
your grandfather's Lubbock AJ.
Yeah, I was surprised at that headline. Pass.
I mean, no, our editor's 35, so you're right. Yeah, so I don't know what Don Williams would have done, but Adam Young certainly did that.
Yeah, so somebody in the chat here says emotional hedge is the cloak of the Pink Raider, and you're exactly right. Emotional hedge is just rephrasing it to make myself feel better about it. These guys hate Tech. Yeah, you got me on that one.
Not me, Ryan. Not me.
Just
did y'all see that Dabo NIL quote though?
Yes, that's why I said that. Yes.
Brandy, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Do you know what NIL is?
Yes, I do.
So
I'm sitting here on this podcast and you're like, you know what the NIL is?
Well,
no clue.
Sorry, getting to know the Gauchos. I work in an industry where there's like a ton of acronyms and people don't know what they mean. But so yeah, he was like, yeah, our program is made in the name, image, and likeness of God. Just like out of nowhere too. It wasn't like some interview about his faith intersecting with his professional life.
He's literally his signing day presser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets tossed some question about NIL. He's like, yeah, as a matter of fact. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know where that came from. Does he not have anybody coaching him on how bad some of that stuff comes across?
No, I don't think he does.
Because he kind of has stepped in it. Kyle Spine, there it is. Thank you.
He wanted to kill the NIL. He said he would quit if they ever passed the NIL legislation. And he didn't. He's still coaching.
Well, he didn't know they were talking about God's NIL.
Right. And everyone, you could feel the room tense up because he was like, we built our team on NIL. And everyone's like, wait, he was cheating? And he was like, no. God's name, image, and likeness.
How many times do you think he rehearsed that in his bathroom mirror before the press conference?
He's been saying that. Yeah, probably
Because there was like dramatic pause and everything.
Yeah. Well, because he's on TikTok, did you see?
Yes.
Said Hickory Dickory Dock, Coach Dabo's on TikTok. Yeah, he's corny.
No, he said, Hickory Dickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock. Coach Sweeney's got that drip, and now he's on TikTok.
Yeah. Totally threw off the rhyme with the drip line.
That's okay. When he does the thing where he runs onto the field before his team to make it all about himself,
yeah.
I used to like him. I thought it was like a cool story, and now I'm pretty out on Dabo.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, we've changed closets. Brandy, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I got the same closet. I just got the door open. Same closet. No, I want y'all to know that I'm a TCU hater at heart. I just got to put it out there. I'm a TCU hater at heart, but I am also born and raised in Fort Worth, right? And like I said, a Sonny Dykes fan. Who is it? Which one of y'all was the one that tweeted, you can take the man out of West Texas, but you can't take the West Texas out of the man? And then y'all were like, psych, he did. West Texas is out of that man.
Well, I mean, he had a few moments there in the middle that we didn't like, but he is a Lubbock guy. Went to Coronado High School, Texas Tech, coached here. So,
and his dad was here for quite a while.
Yes, he was.
Hey, I'm with you. That's my closing argument. I'm a TCU hater at heart, but
I'm sorry that Kyle explained NIL to you. I feel like I was condescending, and that wasn't my intention.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm just like, no, I'm pretty sure that you called me up first for all the picks because you were like, I'm going to make an absolute fool out of this girl.
Oh, no, I was trying to be courteous with our guests.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's fine. I will fully admit that I'm not the most credible source here. But I appreciate y'all for having me. And I'm a fan of y'all's work. So I look forward to seeing this come out to fruition. And hopefully I can prove every single one of y'all wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you're going to beat us we'll track these, and I would not be surprised at all if you came out with the best bowl pick'em record
hey,
for the Big 12 game.
I picked Argentina from game one, and then I called it that they were going into finals in the World Cup and manifested that. So I got a pretty good accuracy right here. We'll see if it keeps going.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah,
I will tune in now for basketball talk.
Yeah, that's good.
Bye.
See ya.
Let's catch up on the chat here. Dabo seems like an acronym guy. Speaking of drip, did you see Burnt Vegetables suit jacket today?
No, but if Dabo's an acronym guy, what does Dabo stand for? DABO.
Doofus about big offense. Need more alphas in coaching like Dabo. I think Nick Adams is in the chat. Dabo's bit got old. Yes. He also had a great used car business. He does seem like a used car salesman.
I thought it was commercial real estate, but either one, I can see it.
One of the two.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Love making picks. And it is funny. It is funny that she's the first AJ employee to come
I
on.
was going to say, before we got started, she was saying that other actual sports writers from the AJ were laughing that not that we did this intentionally, but we haven't had them on the Gauchos before. So they were like, you're going on a sports, a Texas Tech sports podcast that we've never been on. And so that was pretty funny. But yeah, she DM'd us and was like, yeah, I know how to make picks against the spread. And I want to pick the Big 12 games with you. I was like, okay, sure.
Do you want to move on do you want to talk basketball tonight, or do you want to save that?
We can talk a little baloncesto.
I do have one question. Because we thought that Texas Tech had played a few bad teams, but I think those teams looked better than maybe we thought they were. In a Georgetown who played a couple of Power 5 teams close afterwards. They're still bad. And then maybe an Eastern Washington who came in and hit a bunch of threes. Are you just playing two really bad teams? Or did the drama of the week preceding kind of lock this team in and galvanize, because we said it was going to go one of the two ways. It's either kind of blow up the team or galvanize. Do you think that this team is galvanized, and do you think Steve Green maybe has taken a bigger role in the coaching landscape? Start with you, Mary Mainville.
Yeah, I think looking at that, some of the earlier games, I think it was clear that you were not playing the level of basketball that you want to be. Obviously, you hit an early season skid and struggled through some bad games against some bad teams. And, Houston Christian, not a great basketball team. They were dead last in the country in KenPom's defense coming into today. So it's not a huge surprise that you had your best offensive performance of the year. I don't think that Jackson State team was anything to write home about. I know they played, I think it was Mississippi State pretty close the other night, but I think the reality is early in this season, you were coming into these games and it didn't feel like you were going to come out of them with a win. And you just had two sizable wins over teams that you should be beating by 30, 40 points. And so I think some of the rust has been shaken off. I think that you've got your feet under you a little bit. And right now, whatever the challenge is, whatever the adversity that's been addressed, the response is there. And that's encouraging with just one more ramp up before you go to Fort Worth.
It also felt like there was more chemistry. I mean, we haven't seen the alley-oops. We haven't seen the kind of the behind-the-back passes.
They had fun today. They had fun.
Yeah, that's another way to say it. Absolutely. This team looked like it had fun today. It looked like it was having fun in Houston. It looked like it was a miserable chore against Eastern Washington and some of those other teams. Kyle, would you re-up or change the 6.5? Would you lean one way or the other now, or are you still on 6.5 in the Big 12?
I think I need to see these. So I do acknowledge there have been signs of improvement and progress the last couple of games, but I need to see it against Big 12 competition to shift my thinking that we're a tournament team. And so I am encouraged by it, and I think I've stepped back from the ledge a little bit, but I'm not bought in to the idea that we can have a 500 or better record in Big 12 play just yet. Having said that, if they have another 50-burger margin of victory in their last tune-up game, and then their first 2-3 games of Big 12 play look solid, I don't think it'll take long for me to buy back in. Whereas before this stretch, I might have been a little bit more hesitant to buy back in. So, yeah, I agree with everything else said. And, yeah, it's good to see the chemistry. If the offense – here's my only negative, not to rain on the parade here. If the offensive philosophy changed before the last two games, why were we not executing the current offensive philosophy during these dozen warm-up games instead of doing it right before conference play? Because I could see it being the case that, okay, like we've shifted the offensive philosophy. Okay, great. But now we're starting Big 12 play with 2 or 3 games of this under our belt instead of the entire non-conference slate under our belt. And so that would be a frustrating development, even if you are kind of moving in the right direction offensively.
I think that was some of the drama that was resolved, right?
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Boomer
alert.
I think that was some of the drama that was resolved, right? What you're referencing, how Steve Green is maybe taking the offensive coordinator role from somebody else?
I hope so, but that's what I'm saying. I thought he was brought in to do that from game 1, so why did we not see that?
Was today's win a quarter 1 or quarter 2 win? Quadrant 1, sorry. Q1, Q2.
I'm sure it was quad 4 and would be quad 5 if that was a thing.
Which is more important, KenPom or net?
Depends on what you're asking about. Net is important for seeding in March Madness. KenPom is taken into consideration by the committee, but it's really just a helpful tool to look at to see how teams are performing right now.
Another comment on the chat. We've seen a lot more transition in the past 2 games. I think that goes to the fun aspect, right? I mean, they're pressing, they're going faster.
They're running and gunning, which they need to do a little bit more because pace has been an issue for this team for the past couple of seasons. And I think you've got guys on this team that can really shine in transition. And I think the most notable of that group is Davion Harmon. I mean, all offseason, that's really the number one thing that I heard about him was, oh, he's going to push it. Like, he's going to push it up the floor every single time. He's going to get back on defense. He's going to grind for every single possession. And I mean, today he had a monster game and had 9 assists in addition to 22 points. He just looked phenomenal on the break. Obviously, Big 12 play comes around. You're not going to be able to get those opportunities as much as you have in these past 2 games. But it is encouraging to see that, hey, this is something that's being emphasized, is to play a little bit faster, play a little bit more aggressive, and get to the rim.
It is good to see quality transition, and one thing we pride ourselves on the Gambling Gauchos is quality transitions to our ad reads. And so I'll go ahead and knock out Stay Trig while we're doing this quality transition. StayTrig.com. You know them, you love them. 10% off your first booking at StayTrig.com using the promo code Gauchos. What is Stay Trig? It is your local option for a short-term home rental in the Lubbock area. If you don't want to roll the dice on an Airbnb, you don't trust those reviews, maybe all the hotels are booked and you don't want to pay the last-minute prices, go to StayTrig.com. They've got different properties all across Lubbock, but what's consistent about them, every single property is professionally decorated and furnished up to a professional upscale standard that you can count on. So next time you're coming to Lubbock, whether it's for business, the holidays, graduation, basketball games, baseball games, don't go the hotel route. Don't go Airbnb. Stay with Stay Trig and book at StayTrig.com. 10% off using the promo code Gauchos.
You done?
Yep.
Do you want to go into the Discord mailbag or talk about some airing of grievances? I think both are going to be good.
Can we talk recruiting for a little bit? Because today was National Signing Day.
Yeah, we can. Do you want to start with the rest of the Big 12 or you want to go straight into Texas Tech?
I'm going to actually start – we're going to start with Texas Tech. I'm actually going to start in the class of 2024 because only 4 days ago, you get your quarterback commit in the class of 2024, Will Hammond out of Hutto, Texas, which, by the way, when I was growing up in that area, Hutto was this podunk 3A, like one stoplight town. It was a big deal when they got a McDonald's. Now I think there's multiple high schools in Hutto. They're playing like 5A, 6A ball. Anyway, that's where this kid is from. And when he committed, I had never heard of him. And his only 2 other offers were UTSA and Incarnate Word. And it was one of those, there were folks in the Discord that were like, why did we take a commitment from a guy who only has 2 group of 5 offers? Or Incarnate Word is FCS even. And then in the 72 hours since then, he's gotten offered by Oregon, Penn State, and Auburn. And I'm sure there are more to come. And so all that to say, I don't want to talk about the 2024 class because we need to recap the guys who just signed today and celebrate them. But this staff, I have so much confidence in their early evaluations, quality evaluations, and then their ability to close the deal by building strong relationships with players and coaches. And so I think there's going to be more and more of these. The poster child for that in 2023 was Calvin Simpson Hunt, who only had an offer from Navy when he committed to Tech. Now he's signed with Ohio State. So quit worrying about these guys that we're just finding earlier. We're not reaching on dudes that, aren't capable of playing more than group of 5 football. We just are blessed with a very quality scouting and personnel staff. So with that said, I think there's a lot of evidence for what I just said. The coaching staff being great recruiters with the class they put together in 2023. You can make the case it's the best in this modern recruiting rankings database era. And so we got a lot of guys to talk through. We tweeted all these stats about they signed more guys that fit X profile than were signed in the 5 classes combined before Joey got here. So we can start wherever you want, Rob, but basically, I'm just giving them an A+ and have no complaints whatsoever with the recruiting.
Trivia question. Do you know the last Red Raider signed as a Hutto Hippo?
Let me think.
The last Hutto Hippo.
Was it a football player?
Yep. He was
Chooks.
Yeah. Naboko. Chucks. Chooks? Whatever. He's not here anymore. He was like 5'4", I think. A little return action. So you mentioned the best of the modern era, best since 2011. I have a hard time giving grades or whatever else, or saying it's the best class until we see them play. I like to kind of do a rolling 2 or 3 year grading period. Very happy with what was brought in. Very happy with the potential. But when you look at 2011, that's Jakeem Grant, DeAndre Washington, Jay Samaro, LaRaven Clark, all in the same class. So if Bradley Marquez, so if you look in 4 years and you have that kind of class come in, you are going to be very, very excited about that. The second top 25 class, period, that Texas Tech has brought in, and that's in the recruiting era, so that's since 2000, since these kind of internet sites were ranking classes, but really, really good. Really good. And there was a lot of smoke that Washington was going after some of your DBs. That's really good look because they're known for recruiting good DBs. TCU was sniffing around. And then Michigan,
had some Big Ten teams coming after your offensive linemen.
When Michigan is looking at your offensive linemen, you know you're doing good. And when Oregon is sniffing around your quarterbacks, you know you're doing good too. This comment, lock Blanchard up with a big bag. I'm pretty sure they doubled his salary already. They might do that for the next 2 or 3 years until he's making a solid amount. I mean, he already is, I'm sure. But do you want to give us some of these questions are going to be in the mailbag, but 2 or 3 guys you're looking for as early impact, and then maybe 2 or 3 guys you're looking for long term?
I'll give you those, but first I'm just going to talk about all the guys that they recruited in the trenches, just as a position group on the offensive line and on the defensive line. This was my favorite tidbit looking, because I knew that we weren't good at recruiting in the Kingsbury and Wells administrations, but actually quantifying that by going back and looking at, like, okay, how many 4-stars did we sign? How many offensive linemen with multiple Power 5 offers did we sign? Kind of put some of that into perspective or illuminated it. This is my favorite one. So on 24/7 Sports, which is one of the 2 or 3 main recruiting sites, maybe our listeners have a preference as to, like, maybe they're more accurate than Rivals, maybe they're not. I don't know. But a player on 24/7 who's rated an 87 or higher is considered like a high-end 3-star prospect. You signed 10 guys in this recruiting class, and going back to last recruiting class in the month that McGuire had before signing day, you've signed 10 players that fit the high-end 3-star billing on 24/7 that play O-line or D-line. You only signed 8 guys that fit that profile of high-end 3-star offensive line or defensive line in the decade 2013 through 2022 before McGuire got here combined. And so we're not talking like incremental progress in the trenches or something like that. We're talking an absolute point of emphasis, not just on the volume of guys you're taking, but high skill level guys that are going to be high upside with some development, same type of kid that a bunch of other Power 5 programs are after. And so we can highlight specific players, and I would like to do that, but that was my biggest takeaway. And McGuire's talking about the fastest class in the country. That's great. Love to see that too. But Mass kicks ass, and they're adding the bodies and the guys to do that in the trenches.
The average distance of recruit from Texas Tech was within 400 miles, 371 miles. 81% of the class is from Texas. Really, Texas and Louisiana have all of the class. I think there was one from Iowa. And then obviously the transfer from San Diego State, which is coming back to Texas. Just a really, really, I mean, he said they were going to get faster. He said they wanted big guys. He did both of those. They said he was going to recruit West Texas. They have 7 west of I-35. Pretty much every promise he made, he delivered. And that's also a new thing, because other coaches have promised recruiting promises in the past, and you just have not seen. Oh, yes, there was a South Carolina commit too, Dingle. So, all in all, really happy. 12 4-star commits, signees, from a service. So on 3, 24/7 rivals, 12 guys in this class have at least ESPN. 12 guys have at least one 4-star ranking out of those 4, and then there are 4 consensus. You've not had 4 consensus 4 stars in one class since 2011, when I think you had 6 or 7. But this class, I think, is just as good potentially.
Ryan, any individual dudes in particular from this 2023 class that you want to spotlight?
Yeah, I think when you're talking about true freshmen, it's always difficult because, I mean, we're sitting here talking about mass, and that really was an area that the staff needed to address. But it's also typically an area where young guys don't play a lot, at least immediately, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's just really hard to throw an 18-year-old 300-pounder into a Big 12 football game and ask them to do a lot of things against NFL athletes. And so I think the speed will really show in the first couple of years after this class. I think guys like, your Brendan Jordans, your Jordan Sanfords, your Tyrone Wests, those guys, I think, have an opportunity to earn themselves some snaps and make some good explosive plays with their speed. And then I think a couple of years down the road, investing in that mass, I'm really excited to see, obviously, Nick Fattig. I mean, we've been talking about him in Michigan, guy that was looked at a lot. And then on the defensive line, Isaiah Crawford coming off the edge. That's a guy that had a lot of really good offers, a guy that's coming off an injury. But in a couple of years, I think he can be really, really good. Big guy. I think he's like 6'4", right around 200 pounds. Might want to put some weight on him once he gets on campus. But I really like what he could be coming off the edge in a couple of years.
Yeah, what I love about so many guys in this class, you mentioned Nick Fatigue. I think he's an all-state or junior Olympian power lifter. And then Justin Horn, the linebacker from Louisiana, he is a black belt in karate. And then besides those 2 examples, you've got guys that run track, play basketball, play baseball. And so just the overall athleticism of this class, I think, is exciting. A couple guys that I'm maybe most excited about seeing their development is Michael Dingle, the linebacker from South Carolina. He's one of your lower rated prospects in this class. He doesn't have that 4-star tag or high-end 3-star tag. But I think if I heard this and remember it correctly, he had the 3rd fastest 110-meter hurdles time in the country last year when he was a junior in high school. Now, he was injured this football season. He might have been more highly recruited had he put out some senior tape. And I don't know if he's going to run track his senior of high school or not. But to have a linebacker prospect be the 3rd fastest in a sprint event in track and field, which is usually reserved for either guys that aren't athletic enough to play football, or if they are, they play corner or wide receiver, is pretty amazing. And so if he can maintain that speed and athleticism while adding to his frame and being a dude that can hit at 230, 235 pounds, that's pretty crazy to think about. And you have almost a carbon copy of him in Justin Horn, who's also a 110-meter hurdler, very elite at that. So those 2 in particular, playing the linebacker spot with that much speed, if they can maintain that and tackle well after putting onto their frame, I think those 2 guys are extremely exciting prospects.
2 we haven't mentioned, another track star, Marquez Macho Stevenson. Another Louisiana kid. I saw today, I guess Joey's one that said it, that he potentially is going to win the 100, 200, and 400 in the state track meet in Louisiana. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And then another guy we haven't mentioned, Kelby Volson, who I think can come in and play day 1 at inside or outside receiver, speed burner. His highlight tape. Now, every highlight tape that gets put together for these recruiting packages is impressive. That's the point of a highlight tape. Every kid has 5 or 6 plays at this level that you could probably put out there. But the first play on his highlight tape that Texas Tech put out was Jakeem Grant. I mean, he was running backwards, forwards, sideways, around in circles, back again, and then forward. He probably ran 300 yards for a 60-yard touchdown. And then in the middle of all these huge football plays, it's just like, oh, he can dunk too. and he drives the lane and dunks it in the football package. And so that's just another point to yours, Kyle, is that this recruiting staff loves speed, mass, and two-way athletes who can come in and play and develop and aren't burnt out in football. You see that a lot in the college baseball recruiting too. They like guys who play more than one sport because you're not having all that arm fatigue or specific fatigue to what you do.
Yeah, I don't know if either of y'all caught it, but Joey was on the ESPN Plus halftime show today during the Texas Tech basketball game talking to Level and John Harris, and he was saying that I think it was 3 out of the 5 offensive linemen that they signed can dunk. And he was saying that's something that his staff looks for. Like because he mentioned, he's like, if you're a guy this size and you can dunk, that says something about your explosiveness and your athleticism. And so when you can do that, that makes us really like you. And I think like it just goes to show a lot of versatility in this class. I mean, ton of track guys, ton of basketball guys, and just athletes. A lot of athletes.
Yeah, if an offensive lineman can dunk, that's the kind of guy that if he is like pulling and he's in the open field, is not just going to like whiff on a block or just be taking up space out there. Like he'll go find somebody and engage and throw a block downfield. And I think I have this right. So of confirmed like official track times among the new Big 12 teams, so excluding any prospects committed to Texas and OU, I think you have 4 of the 6 fastest 100-meter dash guys that signed today to any Big 12 school, and 3 of the 5 fastest 200-meter guys of any new Big 12 school. And so you have some very top-end in the conference speed coming in, and if you can put together 3 or 4 classes like this, that's where you start to get a reputation of like, okay, Texas Tech, every receiver, every DB, every linebacker is going to have some serious speed up and down the roster. So exciting times for sure.
Any thoughts on Spencer, the flip from UT?
Good player. He's also huge. I mean, again, it just goes to show that this staff really values measurables and athleticism. I think he's 6'4" too. So I almost think part of it is they got a little spoiled with the Tyree Wilson experience. And it's almost like, hey, if you just throw a giant out there on the edge, you're going to make the offensive line have a terrible time. So let's just keep it going. And I mean, if it ain't broke, I'm ready to keep seeing it.
Yeah, I heard saw a clip of one of the interviews that Joey McGuire did today, and he was like, I want to be really careful not to like compare anybody to Tyree Wilson because that's a big standard to live up to. But this guy kind of looks like Tyree Wilson or, could grow into that. So anytime you're getting a comp like that or almost a comp like that, it's pretty exciting. And flipping a guy from UT is always a good thing.
Yes, and I think they said Spencer's going to play Tyree Wilson's spot, and then you'll have Crawford maybe at the other spot, the one that Josiah Pierre plays. And then I did see that Fatigue is going to play center, hopefully. And that is really good. If you have a guy who can come in young and get a year or two, and he's probably a guy who plays as a redshirt freshman, honestly. But if you can have him early and then play 3 or 4 years, that's really good news for Texas Tech. All right. You ready for some Discord mailbag, and then we'll air some grievances?
Yes, sir.
Diversified Lenders bringing you the Discord mailbag. They can take your accounts receivable and turn them into cash. Will we have the mandated aluminum pole? No, we're just airing the grievances tonight. It's not going to be a full Festivus option. If you could change one thing about each gaucho, what would it be? Kyle, you can start.
If I could change one thing about each gaucho, man. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Ryan?
I'd make Kyle a Cowboys fan. I think that's all I can think of.
That's a good one.
They can be like I can be a casual. I mean, I've got the Vikings, of course, and then the Chiefs are my AFC team. If y'all don't mind me being a casual, like, yeah, if the Vikings and Chiefs aren't any good, I'll root for the Cowboys. Then I'm in on that.
I don't have anything to change about you guys. Vic Hen says it's hard for Kyle to pick just one. No comment, Kyle?
Nope.
Which Gaucho will get tossed out of Bell Station first?
I'm playing nice today.
Good.
I'm going. It won't be me, and Rob. I don't think it'll be you. I've not known Ryan as long as I've known you, Rob, and so I'm going to go with Mainville because he's a bit of a wild card to me. I'm not sure what he'll be like in that setting, and so give me Mainville.
I think if it's Gaucho and or Picador, I do like the Steven Stevens option if we're taking Picadors too.
Heavy favorite.
A little loose cannon, that old Steven Stevens. The people miss Grouchy Kyle. Start, bench, cut, feats of strength, and this is for Kyle. Fighting a bear, fighting a badger, fighting Rob.
I want no piece of a badger, so cut that. I'll bench starting a bear because it depends on the species. If it's a black bear, that's easy. Grizzly, another story. No qualms at all about fighting Rob. That'd be an easy one, so I'll start that option.
Who will be the first Picador to tap out at Bells? So that's different than getting kicked out. I hope nobody's tapping out that early. Maybe in the victory party if somebody's tapping out.
Yeah.
And that might be me.
Because we're only going to be there till like 7 at the latest.
Yeah.
So hopefully people are well behaved enough to that point.
I'm not as good as I once was, but I was good once, as I ever was. Here's a grievance from Hunter. He says, I would like to air a grievance with every single person who told me that Matt Campbell was a transcendent, excellent coach. He is mid. Not sure if you're airing audience grievances. If you aren't, here's a free one. Nothing without Purdy and Hall.
I didn't know we had K-State fans in the Discord, but apparently we do.
Are we due for a football and basketball uniform redesign? Football, yes.
Basketball, yes. I think it's been a dry last couple of years. You've done some good things with the throwbacks. I don't love the grays in any sport. That's just me. And then the white jerseys that you've had for the past 2 seasons with the big red letters that just say Tech, those are terrible. I hate them.
You don't like the white, the 3D red?
I do not like those. No.
I don't mind them.
I like all three. I love all three basketball throwbacks. You've got the Darvin Ham era, the Andre Emmett all blacks,
yes,
and then the whites from the 90s. So I mean, I'm a level the bevel guy. Not to give away our grievances before we air those fully. I would have no issue with Texas Tech's uniforms at all if they wore the all black Andre Emmett's at home and then the all white throwbacks on the road. I guess you would need a red one in there too, but. Football, yes. This is season number 10 of what started Cliff's first year. Now, you changed a little bit of that piping on like the shoulder. You just moved it to the side. But it's the same template. And they were bad 10 years ago. We've been through a decade of bad football uniforms. We need a new base uniform in football. Absolutely.
They say Minister Mainville is preaching.
Picadors are hyping me up.
They are. Gas them up, boys. Please at least just increase the tiny Texas Tech font across the chest. Yes, the football, if they just went with the throwback black uniform that they used this year, and if they need to use the 3D double T, use the 3D double T on it. But that uniform with the triple stripe looks way better than anything else they put out. Or the double stripe, whatever it is.
No chevron.
No chevron. Which 5 new Big 12 teams are set up for the best success in football in the new Big 12? I've got my top 3. I'm the one that asked this, but I wanted y'all's opinion. Do you want me to give you my top 3 and then y'all go from there? TCU, just because of success this year, and they just got 8 4-stars. Texas Tech, I think, is next, though. And then I would say Kansas State. Kansas State inching toward a top 25 class. They've been on the verge of winning Big 12 championships with 40 and 50th ranked classes. So I do think that they are in a good spot with Kleiman, and I think Dykes and Joey are in the best spots in their respective schools too. So I would say those are the top three, and you could probably rank them in any of the three order that you want.
I would agree with those. I think Oklahoma State, West Virginia are in a bad spot. I think Cincinnati might be in a bad spot.
Ooh, I think they signed 7 today.
Do what?
I think they signed 7 players today.
Yeah,
because the fickle coaching change.
Well, and their coach was mediocre at Louisville, so I think some of the newcomers have potential. I think UCF and BYU have a lot of potential just as far as like program infrastructure. So maybe I'll tack on those two as newcomers to the 3 that you mentioned and call it good. Now that's like a long-term, like 3 years from now, 4 years from now. What are we saying?
Yeah.
I'll go TCU, Texas Tech, and Kansas.
With Leipold.
Yeah.
Okay. I will be very interested to see if Kansas can replicate and grow, because their recruiting was also bad.
We got a question about Houston in the chat, and until Holgerson is gone, I'm out. Sorry, Dana.
I agree.
Why would any in-state prospect with other options go to Houston at this point? Like, if you're the caliber of football player that is offered by Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech, or Texas or A&M, why would you go to Houston?
Is UTSA in a better spot than Houston? I would argue in the AAC. Dana lost the locker room this year, they said. Impromptu start bench cut. OG Grinch, Jim Carrey Grinch, CGI Grinch.
Start Jim Carrey, bench, cartoon, cut CGI.
Agreed. Would you rather Lubbock get a minor league hockey team or a minor league baseball team and stadium? Give me hockey so we can play Texas Tech hockey on the ice. You can go to Amarillo and Midland for minor league baseball.
Ryan, are you a hockey guy?
I'm not. I grew up going to Stars games because it's just down the road, but yeah. But I feel like hockey's got to be the pick just because Amarillo, it's only 2 hours away. They got a nice little ballpark there. Even Oklahoma City, that's a bit of a drive, but you still got good baseball options there. So I think I'll take hockey.
Yeah, and hockey is a sport that, like, Texas Tech doesn't have NCAA sanctioned, so hockey would give the people of Lubbock something new and different.
And much like we found out with soccer this year, Kyle, live professional sports at any level are fun and exciting. And I know hockey would be a big hit here because it was back in the 2000s. Start bench cut, McGuire's first recruiting class. I'm guessing this first full recruiting class, Leach's best recruiting class, and then any class between 2010 and 2022, you're going to pick 2011. So start bench cut, Leach's best class, McGuire's current class, and 2011. Until I know more, I'm starting 2011.
Yeah, it's too hard without on-field production from this class yet. It's just impossible to look at it in a vacuum.
I'll start Leach's best class. Crabtree and Harrell, they weren't the same class.
That 07 class, or 05 class of Graham Harrell?
Yeah, I feel like if we comb through those classes, we could find a group of guys that came in at the same time, and like we look back on them as, okay, there was a lot of all-conference, really good dudes there.
If you just look at 05, that's got to be those offensive linemen in 08 and a bunch of that you could probably look to.
Yeah, I don't know if Darcel McBath was a redshirt senior, but if he was in that same class with Harrell and the offensive linemen and some of those guys, they'd have a pretty strong case.
Yeah. And again, production versus rankings.
Now 3-4 years from now, it could very well be this one, but we'll see.
What's your favorite Discord emoji?
Slowpoke.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm not online enough, and so I'm the one getting slow poked, and so I hate the slow poke. I love the timer.
Lots of new Discord members will like DM me or message me, be like, "Hey, has this been put in the Discord yet?" It's like, don't fear the slow poke, man. Don't fear it. You just got to go into it. Go into it hot.
The often referenced Keith Patrick from Red Raider Dugout.
I think we've referenced him in every episode.
He's tried to go around it by asking, "Has this been put in here yet?" I'm like, no, you can't. It's all or nothing. Or today he was like, "Oh, I came here to say that exact same thing," and I slow poked him. He was like, "No, that doesn't count." I was like, "Yeah, it does. That's the whole ethos of the slow poke."
This one, we're gonna have to think about this one a little bit. I'm assuming this is non-Texas Tech and probably every level. But let's stick to college football first, and then maybe give an NFL one. Top 3 football games of the year. The Big 12 championship was pretty good. That was a great game. I would say the Texas Tech game was my favorite Texas Tech game. With the overtime and the back and forth. The Houston game was a great finish, but it wasn't a great game to me.
Agreed.
That's how I feel about Oklahoma too. Even the comeback was so crazy, but you just looked so bad in that first half.
Until the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you say we're sticking with college only?
Well, and then I just thought we could think of some college games, but the TCU Oklahoma State game I thought was a highlight of the year. That was a good one. Bama Tennessee in the chat, that was a great game. Obviously, the Texans Dallas Cowboys game, just because I was there. The first USC Utah was good. That one's from Delta Mike.
Vikings Colts, largest comeback in NFL history.
I was waiting on you to say that one. Which, yeah. Oh my God.
There you go.
I'd like to air a grievance on the current football uniforms. Too many complicated and contrived stripes.
I'll allow it.
If Bowman lands at a Big 12 school, which Big 12 school does Bowman land at? I feel like that was kind of a woodchuck chucking. Yeah, sick 'em.
I could see that.
Or Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you bench your son for Alan Bowman?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Gunnar Gundy.
Start bench cut your son or Alan Bowman.
I mean, those are the only two, right?
Yeah, I don't know who else they've got on the roster there.
They've got Garrett Rangel.
Head coach Neil Brown said that he was not going to go after a transfer and he was going to put it between the two young guns.
Yeah. Garrett Green and I'm blanking on the other guy's name. He got some playing time in their last game because Garrett Green got hurt.
I want to say Mariucci, but that's not it. It's some Italian name.
It's not Mariucci.
It's something like that, though. Maraschino?
Nope.
Something like that. Start bench cut Reese's Cup Christmas trees, candy canes, peppermint bark.
I'm starting peppermint bark.
Same.
Cutting candy canes, and I'll do the Reese's in the middle there.
Those are the best Reese's, but I would start peppermint bark. There's something about that peppermint and chocolate combo.
Starting Reese's, cutting both of the other two.
Not a peppermint guy.
Not a peppermint guy.
Okay. And then Chase also clarifies that this is his wife's question, so don't come at him, I think is what he's saying.
Wait a second.
He said his wife wants to start bench cut this one.
His wife doesn't pay for a Patreon membership. Are we allowing this?
Yeah, I think we should allow it. It's Christmas.
Okay, all right.
Because I want to know your answer. Eggnog, cider, hot chocolate.
Start hot chocolate. I'm going to bench eggnog. I used to not like it, but I'm a big coffee guy, and I've been steaming it and putting it in a latte like I would regular milk, and that's been really nice lately. And then I'm cutting cider. Not a huge fan, but it's not terrible, but it's going to have to get cut there.
I'll start hot chocolate, bench cider, cut eggnog.
I would start cider, bench hot chocolate, cut eggnog. I'm not a big milk guy, but I will have an eggnog once in a while. I don't like milk. Look at me.
I wish you I wish you had tweeted that so I could do the make it a quote. I'm not a big milk guy. It's just funny.
And then start bench cut is the final one. Oh, thoughts on green chili peanut brittle? I've never had it, but I would try it.
I don't think so. I'm cutting that.
And then start bench cut, bro, 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 BROUGH, and bro, BREAUX.
Cajun. Start the Cajun. Bench the regular. Cut the last one.
Yeah, I'm trailing Mainville on that one.
Same. And I think that's bra or something anyways. Brow? Bow? The bow will break, the cradle will rock. Attaboy, Rob. Cider supremacy. Thank you. A Bruck, they say. Wouldn't it be pronounced Bruck? All right. Just in case we need to, Kyle, if there's a catastrophic injury that stems from our grievances, do you want to tell the people about Barnett, Howard, and Williams?
Yeah, you know them. You love them. Our Gauchos After Dark sponsor all season. Sorry, I just dropped my phone on my laptop. Screwed up the ad read, but what's new? BHWLawFirm.com, a trio of double Texas Tech grads. They do all kinds of stuff. They do family law, criminal defense, catastrophic injury, certified for Title IX student litigation, which is kind of unique among law firms in the state of Texas, as I understand it. They hope you never need them, but they are here for you if you do. BHWLawFirm.com, Barnett, Howard, and Williams. Sorry, I'm distracted. Have y'all seen Tom Izzo's fit tonight?
Yeah.
Yes. I commented on one of those that he's an angry elf.
Is that in game day threads on Discord?
It should be. I don't know that it is.
I think it was in game day thread with game day threads linked in the message.
There's some overlap on some of these. Or you got to figure out the right channel to post it. But okay, yeah, that's pretty funny. Anyway, Barnett, Howard, and Williams, shout out.
It's a great sweater. All right, how do you want to do these? You want to rotate? Do you want? I have a list. Ryan, do you have a list of some grievances you want to air?
Nope.
Ryan has no grievances. So Kyle and I, do you want to go back and forth? I have 5.
Yeah, I have about 5, and Ryan, you can think of some on the fly or weigh in on our grievances. And maybe it's something that aggrieves you, or maybe it doesn't bother you. And
I love it.
Do it that way if you want.
All right, do you want me to start, Kyle? I'll start. Using slow-mo.
Yeah, you can start.
Using slow-mo replays to decide football games. The game is not played in slow motion. If you want to have replay, ruin sports, go live time replays. If you can't see it in a live action replay, you don't need to see it. Slow-mo replay, that's one of my grievances.
I'm with you on that. I also have a policy that if on the very first replay in my living room, I can tell with 99% certainty what the call should be. 1, it shouldn't have been reviewed in the first place. 2, they shouldn't spend the next 10 minutes doing what you're talking about, going freeze frame on it.
There's a thought that you should just have 5 guys in a bar somewhere in America, and if they can't, so now I hear the echo you were talking about earlier. If they can't make the decision within 5 minutes, or just say, hey, what was this? And they just make the decision. That's how you need to do the replay. Just 5 guys in a bar.
Yeah, maybe in Omaha.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Middle America.
Yeah.
I'll air this grievance. It's a timely one. And we don't have to rehash anything. We don't have to throw anybody under the bus. The recruiting efforts of past coaching staffs. Because we're not talking like a bad class or 2. We're talking like years and years of, we're only going to sign 4 defensive players this cycle. And I guess just hope that somehow works out for us when all of our peers are signing 15. Or we're going to bring in 6 offensive linemen over the course of 3 years and hope that works out when we should probably be taking almost that many every year. I never, ever, ever once believed the lie that you can't recruit to Lubbock or it's hard to recruit here. Why? Because 1, I love Lubbock, and 40,000 students are recruited here to not play sports, and they seem to like it just fine. But 2, every other sport had guys in the NBA draft lottery, Final Four type players, College World Series type players, Olympian track and field athletes, they all came here. So I just never bought that. And I feel like maybe some past coaching staffs lean into like, well, it's difficult. We're going to have to do it a little bit differently. We're going to have to reach on some guys. And so that's a grievance of mine. I'm a little bit bitter about how that was handled in years past and glad it's no longer handled that way.
I love that Joey said that in his press conference today. That myth is dead. Number 2, people using over-under wrong or not setting a total. It's not a personal grievance. It's just something that happens quite a bit. I'll give you an example. Someone bringing up like, hey, over-under Jalen Hurts plays against the Cowboys. It's like that. That's... And I know what they mean, and I'll answer. But, look, not everyone gets the gambling lingo, and I mess up sometimes too, but just over-under. And if you're going to give me an over-under, set a total. Don't just say, hey, over-under games played. It's like, okay, give me 3.5, and then I'll pick. But I'm not going to set a total and give you an over.
Yeah, a lot of times they're just asking you to handicap it. They're like, hey, what would you set the over-under as? Like, well, you're just asking me what my prediction is.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. You'd have to say, like, over-under half a game played by Jalen Hurts this weekend if you wanted to do it right. Yes. Okay, my next grievance is behind a paywall guy. Because there are people on Twitter that want to consume stuff for free. And even if it takes you hours and hours of like compiling data and information and publishing it, he goes, behind a paywall? Like, yeah, I want to be compensated in some form or fashion for doing all this work for you that you can easily digest and consume in 10 minutes. And it's not that much for me to ask $5 a month for something like that. And if you don't want to give it, that's fine. But I also don't want to hear your sermon about why you're not going to give me $5 a month. I'm not begging for it. It's just how it's set up. Give it or don't. But yeah, creating stuff takes work. And in any other form of work that somebody completes, you usually pay them in some form or fashion for it. So I don't like behind a paywall, ! Question mark guy. Like, yeah, it's behind a paywall.
How often did you get that working at the Dallas Morning News, Ryan? Because I feel like they get that. Evan Grant has that conversation every day, I feel like, on Twitter.
Weekly. And then the emails are just constant. But I love it, Big J Kyle. Keep it up.
Well, and it also chaps my hide and grinds my gears because we put out multiple episodes a week. And so we're not just like hiding like, hey, either pay up or you get nothing. Like you have hours of free content from us. But then also it took me like days and days to compile this random ESPN2 TV data that nobody asked for. And like that's pretty valuable information. It's not just me talking. And so like, yeah. We want a little bit of compensation for that to reinvest in stuff like better microphones. And so I don't really understand why people get up and on. And also, it's not like $100 a month. Like we're asking for pretty much the smallest amount that you would ever pay monthly for anything. And again, if you don't want to, that's fine. I just don't want to hear about it.
Big Hen has committed to $30 a month for all your hard work, Kyle. So congratulations to Big Hen.
Big Hen's GOAT status, just like he was already goated, and it just keeps going up and up from there.
All right, my next one, Tyree Wilson's face mask at TCU. I'm still peeved. It changed the entire course of the game. And piggybacking on that, and I know I have 2 officiating grievances now, but it seems like every week we talk about one game where the officials decided the contest. You saw it, Colts-Vikings. Not Colts-Vikings. What was the game this weekend? The Rams? Whatever it was at the end of the game where the guy just grabs his shoulders and holds him down and they don't call the... Was that a bowl game? No, now I don't even know. It happens so often. I can't even recall but there was like an offsides they called or didn't call. Oh, and then the guy's lined up on the line of scrimmage and the ref points at him and then grabs his flag like, oh, and it snapped. I'm going to throw this flag. I didn't really say he was good. Like, he's just ump show. All the ump shows, grievances, let's end it.
All right, the folks wanted grouchy Gaucho. Here's one. My next grievance is when a co-host interrupts an ad read 3 times, and then listeners come to his defense when the interrupted is understandably aggravated at being interrupted.
Can you read my second one there?
Kyle not letting me help with his... That's what you call it, letting me help.
That's my grievance.
Ryan, we need you to weigh in as a third-party observer here.
My favorite part of the ad reads are when phones drop and hit hot mics.
I've been known to do it.
Oh man, I knew that was going to be one of your grievances. So
it's
I
really
countered.
not even okay. I don't like being interrupted, but especially virtually, there's like I feel like the audio goes one way, so I can't hear you, and that's the problem. Like if we were in person, I would be able to process what you're saying while I'm talking, and it would be no big deal. But I have to stop and go, "What was that?" And you're like, "Oh, no, nothing." I'm like, "Well, if it was nothing, then just shut up and let me finish the ad read." But now my sentence is broken up, my train of thought is gone. So just like give me 30 seconds here, and it'll be over with.
Yeah, I'm just bro's trying to create the radio banter rapport that he has with Hyatt. That's all we're doing.
And then furthermore,
I thought we had chemistry, Kyle.
When we do, but then people are like, "Yeah, why is Kyle so upset about that?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to." It's aggravating to be interrupted, like, period. And so it's not even just that I get it. It's that I get, like, no support from the picadors or the list. They're like, "Yeah, why is he being so mean to Rob right now?" Like, no, y'all should be taking my side. I was interrupted.
Oh, man. Steven says, we'll all pay $30 just for the laughs and to watch Rob fiscating and Kyle splaining. All right, I've got one more. Since I just gave the Kyle one, do you want to go again or?
I've got 2. So, yeah, I'll go real quick and then I'll end it after yours. My next grievance, a little more lighthearted. And by the way, I'm going to let it go about being interrupted. That's the last. I'll make a big stink of that. My New Year's resolution, which we'll have a whole episode on New Year's resolutions maybe, is to be less grouchy. Less grouchy, more gaucho. My next grievance is people who are not coming to Bell Station. That's Texas Tech fans that are there for the Texas Bowl. We might have a Houston fan that we just accidentally ratioed who was like, "Hey, Tech Twitter seems kind of cool. Maybe I'll go to Bell Station." And then our friend Joe Goodman from Our Daily Bears, I think he's coming in his Baylor garb. And so anybody who lives in Houston who listens to this podcast, we would love to see you at Bell Station. We're doing a live show at 4 o'clock. It's steak night from 5 to 7, drink specials, all that good stuff, and then we'll caravan over to NRG from there. So would love to see you at Bell Station.
I've got a grievance.
Go for it.
It's against people who think that if you're a fan of a program, that you can't enjoy or appreciate other fan bases or other programs. Like, it's really crazy to have somebody post a billboard in Houston and be like, why is this here? And if you don't know Texas Tech, it doesn't make sense. But I think once you see the fan base, how wild we are, it's a ton of fun. And I think people like that can join the fun. That's a good time.
I think we're like Grayson Allen or Lance Stevenson. If you're on our side, you love us. But if you're against us, you absolutely hate us. And what I mean by that kind of is like our in-state rivals, they hate our fan base. And like I can understand why, even though I don't agree with them, obviously. But the more further removed programs like Kansas State, Iowa State, they love us. And they're like, why do TCU fans, Texas fans hate you guys? Like, y'all are so cool. And I'm like, yeah, we are, but they can't stand it. And so I actually felt bad for ratioing that guy because I just replied to him. I wasn't like quote tweeting him to like sick all of our followers on him. But I guess enough people saw it and then like he got ratioed. Like that tweet had 1 retweet and 3 likes when I responded with the "It's all West Texas" meme, and it blew up after that. But he was a good sport about it, and I think he was like, "Oh gosh, I'm getting ratioed. Like I'm not in on this bit." Anyway, he handled it well.
He had like 2,000 likes too, so he got some play. Update: people who wear Tech gear to Bell Station will get the drink specials.
Sweet.
Final one from me. Kyle, you hit this one earlier, and I thought you said it well. But those low-down, dirty scumbags with the Cheez-It Bowl who picked the 7th place Big 12 team for the second best non-power New Year's Six bowl to have the name and paperclip dummy logo of OU just so they could play against Florida State. They're not even going to field a team. They're 10-point underdogs. And I don't know what Texas Tech would be. Texas Tech isn't ranked either. But OU being in the Cheez-It Bowl is a travesty. Oklahoma should be in the Armed Forces Bowl where they belong in 9-degree weather in Fort Worth.
Only going to correct one thing you said, minor correction to make your point even better. They tied for 7th in the Big 12. They didn't even win that outright. They're tied with West Virginia and some other 3 and 6 team. I don't know.
Kansas.
Yeah. So anyway, we should be doing Gauchos at Disney World next week, but instead, well, we're still going to be having a great time in Houston, so it's hard to complain. But point well taken. My final grievance is simply the bevel. It doesn't look better than your old logo. Your uniforms with the flat double T look better. Level the bevel. That's my final grievance.
All right, Mainville, final thoughts?
I've got a grievance with how cold it's about to be. I'm a big winter guy, not a summer guy. I'm a big winter guy, but it's about to be like 6, and that's not okay with me. So very, very much grieving the temperature change that's about to happen tomorrow.
I've got one more grievance actually on the fly. When I'm speaking, I have 2 choices: to either read the comment that pops up and destroy my train of thought, or ignore it and then wonder what y'all are laughing about and if it's directed at me. And so I think in the second half of this episode, I did a better job ignoring them, but it has gotten under my skin that y'all are chuckling. And I'm like, did somebody say, hey, Kyle's an idiot in the chat and I didn't even see it, or what's going on there?
All right, I've got a grievance on the fly. Just hypothetical, someone blaming other people for not being able to multitask.
And not blaming anybody.
Well, this seemed a little blamey.
Well, I'm sorry that
Do you want me
you
to
took
bring
it
it
that
back
way.
up? Okay. See, there's Kyle lighting there.
I'm sorry you're upset, Rob.
Yeah. It says I say double the bevel.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So in the future, hypothetically, do you want the comments to just pop up when you're not talking? Can y'all pull up the comments? Can you?
No,
because I saw Ryan reading them earlier.
No, I can't.
But
I'm not on
them.
Twitch right now.
But can you see them?
When you pop them up on the screen, yes, I can see them.
Oh, can you see them in StreamYard or do you see them in Twitch? Oh, Ryan.
You can see them in StreamYard, yeah.
Kyle, you just need to pull up maybe over there on the right. Is there a section that says comments?
I'm not even saying it's a problem that needs to be corrected or we need to change our course of action. I'm just saying it's a reality of the world we live in that I have 2 less than ideal choices to make, which is in the back of my mind, worry that y'all are laughing at me, or to make an incoherent point as I read which is usually some stupid comment that isn't about me. And it's about something we mentioned like 3 minutes ago, but it is distracting nonetheless. But I like it. Okay. I'm glad we do it. I just need to do a better job of dealing with it.
That's how I would have said it. If I had brought up the grievance,
I'm almost positive that is not how you would have said it, Rob.
I would have said, I need to be better about focusing and keeping my train of thought when comments pop up that are hilarious, and I love them from the listeners. All right, let's invite the Twitter sphere to give us grievances. If you're watching on YouTube and you've made it this far, comment below your grievances. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. We're the Gambling Gauchos. Go yam on that subscribe button.
Do either of you guys watch Family Guy?
Yes.
Do you know what's up, guys? I'm Corey.
Yeah.
I forgot what Stewie is doing. He's in like a life or death situation. And he's like watching a YouTube video on how to whatever. And that's like the first 45 minutes of the YouTube video is, what's up, guys? I'm Corey. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button.
Hammer. Are you ready for a comment, Kyle?
Yeah.
Big Hen says it's on me, Kyle. I'm sorry. I love you. So
It's not on you, Big Ken. I'm taking the blame. I need to do better.
Also, here's a question that's big of you, and I appreciate that about you, Kyle.
Don't sound so surprised.
Phase 3, does that come with a producer to pop up the comments and run the board? I would love to have a producer.
I mean, with as many people as we have griping about a $5 a month paywall, we would need to up the ante to afford a producer, and I don't feel like the people are going to go for that at this juncture.
Yeah.
So
Maybe that's phase 5. I skipped a question in the Discord mailbag. We will announce phase 3 in the next podcast. Are you good with that, Kyle? That's kind of an executive decision.
yes.
It might be the podcast after next.
It won't be till the new year, right?
In one of the next 2 podcasts, we will announce what we've been talking about with phase 3.
Not counting the live show.
In one of the next 3 podcasts, we will announce what phase 3 has been all about. Chase wants us to announce it at Bell Station. Maybe we will. Maybe.
Otherwise, phase 3 coming to you in 3 episodes from now.
One of the 2. A grievance with TCU's uniforms. They look like a bunch of Black Panther cosplayers.
Agreed.
I don't understand what the diamond is around the neck. I like it, but
is it supposed to be like the bearded thing on the frog's head?
I think so.
I get like the horns.
It's like a reptile thing.
I guess. So do y'all want to go 15 more minutes to make it 2 hours, or are y'all done? Hey, I'm off, man. I'm on Christmas vacation all the way through the 3rd. So
Christmas Vacation. There's another grievance.
yeah, well, that movie sucks, but
I'm a little disappointed Mainville didn't have any more grievances for us.
is that a grievance?
I guess it could be. Ryan, do you feel like we argue more than you thought we would when you signed up to be a gaucho?
Yes.
I think the arguing has escalated recently.
Once you bring a child into the mix, there's usually more emotions.
Yeah.
See, now I got railed over the coals for trying to say that Kyle and I would be a couple, just like a partnership. And now you keep calling us parents and Kyle's just going along with it. I was also going to jump in and say we don't argue, and then that would have just been an argument, so I stopped myself.
That's a grievance of mine.
Big man, big credit to me for stopping that.
Yes, but I will. This is separate from what you just said. This is another grievance of mine. When somebody hits you with you just like to argue, you have 2 choices. Say, yeah, you're right, or no, I don't like to argue, and then you can argue with them over whether you like arguing or not. It's a tough one to combat, I guess.
And Kyle for the people, Kyle doesn't argue. He just presents facts with vigor. That's all he does.
That's true at times. That's not all I do. But I do.
Is that an argument that you're making that you don't do that?
Yeah, I'm pushing back against the idea that that's all I do.
Oh, man. Grievance against the city of Fort Worth. Multiple reasons.
Well, the list is about to grow longer, am I right?
Fort Worth. Texas Tech is closed the rest of the week. Did y'all see that?
Negative 15-degree wind chills.
Okay, so let's say ERCOT fails, hypothetically, tomorrow afternoon. Do they play the bowl? Like, what kind of national embarrassment? I know we don't do politics, but what kind of national embarrassment would the state of Texas be if they can't get a bowl gone just because it's cold?
I would say it's a day game, right? Or is it at night?
It's a day game, but all the concourse and stuff is
electronic. Yeah, and scoreboard, I guess, too. Play clocks. Yeah, that'd be tough.
I mean, didn't they used to play football before any of that was around?
That's true. Chase says move it to Jerry World, but if we're in a brownout, we're in a gridlock because of ERCOT and it's 9 degrees. Surely they'll pull out all the stops to get through the bowl games.
I'm still on SPP, so I'm not on ERCOT. So best of luck to y'all.
You know SPP?
You know me.
All right, I don't have any more final thoughts. Merry Christmas to you guys. Kyle, do you have final thoughts? I was going to ask you.
My grievance was going to be that I get put on the spot for final thoughts, and I never have anything planned or profound, but I should, again, it's on me. need to do a better job in the show prep, which I do so much of every time we record.
I ask you that we've done 150 episodes, Kyle. What do you mean put on the spot?
I just said I need to do a better job prepping, and I shouldn't be caught off guard by it. But no, I have no profound final thoughts. I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And I just hit my laptop when I was moving my hand and probably made a loud noise on the mic.
Oh, I thought you were doing that on purpose.
That's all I know how to do.
I thought we were about to have an ad read.
You threw your phone down on purpose.
No, I just flicked the bottom of my laptop here like this.
Oh, man. All right.
If I dropped my phone, it would sound like that.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to whatever you celebrate. Happy Hanukkah. I think it's day 3 or 4 now. 8 Crazy Nights. Very underrated as a holiday film. I don't have any final thoughts either, but I was prepared to not have any final thoughts because we've done this for 150 episodes now. Kyle, are you unprepared to say your final 2 words, or can we get that out?
More than 2 words this time. Merry Christmas. Safe travels to everybody that's going all across the state of Texas or beyond this holiday season. We hope you're listening to Gauchos podcast as you maybe partake on road trips or airfare. And we love y'all. Thank you so much for listening.
Those are great final thoughts, Kyle.
Thanks, man. I prepared really well for those.